Hi everyone! Today's video is a suggestion from a viewer. Thank you so much, Sarah, for suggesting that I do 5 drugstore items that I would pick over their high-end counterparts, or instead of buying something high-end. I had put out a call on Instagram because I didn't really know what to film, and Sarah gave me an idea and we're gonna go with it. The number one item I need to talk about in a video like this is definitely drugstore mascara. I feel like there's a mascara at the drugstore for everybody that could beat out the higher end version of it. Now, I used to buy high-end mascara and I liked it. And this isn't to say that high-end mascara isn't good. I mean, it is. You're just paying a lot of money for it. But over time, I got really annoyed spending like 30 bucks for a mascara that I'm just gonna pitch in 4 months. Like, that's too much money. It's just ridiculous. And the drugstore makes really good mascara. Now, mascara is very personal and everyone has a different definition of what is the perfect mascara for them. But for me, a mascara needs to be quite wet and stay quite wet, like in the tube, not on the eyelashes, for a very long time. I like something with a smaller brush and one that is conical, because that really makes it easier for me to get into like the inner corners of my lashes. I don't like a huge one because I just feel like it's ridiculous, like I'm attacking my eye and I can never get right down to the roots. And because I've got blonde lashes, I have to get as close as possible, otherwise there's like a gap between where the mascara is and like where the rest of my eye is because my lashes are blonde. So I used to really love the Tarteist Lash Paint Mascara. I think it's phenomenal. And the Makeup Forever Smoky Stretch. They're both wet mascaras. Both of them have conical wands. I think the Tarteist Lash Paint is less conical, but they're still sort of roughly the same sort of idea and size. And these two ones from the drugstore are the same, if not better. I mean, formula-wise, they might be identical, but price-wise, they are infinitely better in my opinion. So this one is Essence's The False Lashes Mascara, Dramatic Volume Unlimited. They have one with a pink bottom, but the one I prefer is the one with the orange. This one has a small conical wand and tons of product. It has kind of gooped up at this point because I've had it for several months, so it has recently gone into my empties. But I've purchased this probably 3 times. I got my first one in PR, and since then I just continued to purchase it because it is so good. I think it's only like $4.99 Canadian at the drugstore. And the other one I have here is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Luscious Full Fan Effect Mascara. And much like the Essence one, I have gone through many tubes of this. This one is a slightly bigger wand in comparison to the Essence one, but it is still a conical wand. This is the mascara I actually have open right now. It is so wet. It is so wet, and it stays wet for months and months and months. You will notice towards the end of when, I guess its lifespan, it will all of a sudden go kind of chunky, but it takes a while to get there. So these two are excellent, and I don't feel the need to buy any high-end mascara for the rest of my life, unless something becomes like miraculous in comparison. But let's get real, it's mascara. It either works or it doesn't, and these work for me and they are perfect. So, liquid lipstick. There is not a brand on the market that is better than the Maybelline matte inks. And clearly I love these because I have a ton of them. So I used to hate liquid lipsticks years ago when they first came out because they were so dry. They look pretty and the longevity is good, but they're so dry on the lips. It's uncomfortable to wear. But I mean, over time I just kind of got used to it because there's so many brands that put them out. The colors are beautiful, but they've never truly been comfortable to me until the Maybelline matte inks came out. And I have to say, these are life-changing. These are so wonderful to wear. Now, they are not totally matte in the sense that they don't look like matte dried paint on your lips. They do have a little bit of a rubber texture. Now, some people have told me that they feel that they're a little bit sticky. I kind of get it, but to me, that symbolizes the fact that they are not gonna move from my lips and they are going to stay put. These are actually comfortable because there's some sort of elasticity in the formula that moves with your lips. There's no cracking with this. They are virtually transfer proof. You can put quite a bit on, let it dry, and then you might get a little bit of transfer on the inner rim of your lips just because that's where it's like still a little bit wet. But overall, these are like untransferable. They will not come off on stuff, which is incredible because having comfort and no transfer is the most important thing to me in a liquid lipstick. So I will take these over any high-end liquid lipstick on the market. I don't care what the brand is, these are better, and I just wish that Maybelline had even more colors. Like I've got, I don't know, there's 16 of them in here, and a lot of these are nude, which is fine, they make great colors, but I do want more like vibrant shades, like something a little bit more colorful and unique. They do have purples, which is nice, but I want like even more colors just because the formula is so fantastic. So yeah, get these, they're so good. Another item that I'm leaning towards only buying the drugstore equivalent of is a liquid liner with a brush tip. Now I used the Kat Von D tattoo liner for years and it was really, really good, but this Physicians Formula Eye Booster is the exact same as the Kat Von D one. And Physicians Formula is a little bit more expensive at the drugstore compared to other brands, or at least it is here in Canada. So I think this liner goes for something like 17 or 18 bucks, but I tend to buy it when it's on sale, so it's only like 10 or 11, which is a little bit more reasonable in my opinion. The Kat Von D liner, I think it's probably $25, so on average it tends to be $15 more than the Physicians Formula, when I buy it on sale. And this does the same thing. It has the same longevity, it has a brush tip, it's very fluid, it's not a perfectly matte liner, and the Kat Von D one is not perfectly matte either. I do wish it was, but it's got like a hint of a sheen, which is fine because I use the Kat Von D one for years and I like the effect of that. And I feel the exact same about the Physicians Formula one as I do about the Kat Von D one. It is wonderful, but for that reason, I do not need to go spend the money on the Kat Von D one. There's just no point to it. So I will continue to buy the Physicians Formula one until I just grow too tired of it. This thing has been around for years and I've only recently come back to rediscovering it, and I'm just like, you're good. I'm not gonna buy any other product because you're fantastic. So you don't need to buy the Kat Von D one, go try the Physicians Formula Eye Booster instead. Now the next item I'm going to talk about is a bronzer, and I'm sure you could probably already guess what I'm going to talk about, but I have to say I own a lot of bronzer. I have a lot of high-end bronzer and I like to try different brands, but if I had to go back and repurchase something, I would definitely go for the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer first over my high-end ones. Just because this is so easy to wear, and I also don't feel like you necessarily need high-end bronzers when this one is so good. Now don't get me wrong, I love my high-end bronzers, but I also don't feel like they're that different from this one. Now this is more of a winter shade for me, so it's a little bit pale right now, so I haven't been wearing it, but you can tell I love this thing by how much pan I've hit on it. It is so flawless to wear. I don't ever feel like I really ever do it, and that may be because the tone is a little bit pale, so it keeps me kind of in check. But it's smooth, it's buttery, it smells fantastic. People say they smell coconut in this. I don't smell coconut, it's more like, I want to say like lemon bleach scent. Kind of like sunscreen, we'll go with that. So this one is just one that I would buy over high-end one, because while I love my high-end ones, I don't feel like they're necessarily so unique that I need to go buy one of those as opposed to buying a butter bronzer. And I'm so happy that the Physicians Formula range of butter bronzers has been expanded. So now there's much deeper shades, which is, I mean, like about time. But this is something that I could buy like a deeper shade for the summer if I needed it, or an even paler one they have, I think it's called light bronzer, would work as well. So I think this is phenomenal. I really think it's just as good as high-end stuff, and you really can't beat the price point in comparison because this is much lower. I think it's probably around 20 Canadian, which is still a chunk of change, but I tend to really only buy Physicians Formula when it's on sale, so I usually can get like $5 or $7 off, which is fantastic. So I will never get tired of this one, and when I'm done it, I'm very tempted to replace it, even though I've got a ton of bronzers in my collection right now, just because I feel like it's perfect. Now the last thing I'm going to talk about, I kind of went back and forth in my mind quite a bit, trying to suss out why I felt this way. Now, more often than not, I will buy a high-end palette without really thinking about it, just because I like the aesthetic of it. I like the brand name, I like what the company sometimes is doing with their collections, and I almost will always gravitate towards a high-end version if there's a drugstore dupe, usually because the high-end one comes out first. However, I think when it comes down to it, and I had to repurchase the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I don't think I would, because I could just go out and get the Wet n Wild one. So this is called Rosé in the Air, and they're, I think, missing like 2 shades maybe in comparison to the Modern Renaissance, but this is basically the same thing. And for the difference in the price point, the Anastasia one is not that much better over this one. So I don't actually remember how much this is. I want to say it's $10 or under. It might be closer to like $5 and I just don't know. But this is so good. The texture is lovely. The blendability is wonderful. The colors are so close to the ABH one that it really doesn't make sense to go out and spend like the $50 you would on the Modern Renaissance in comparison to this, because the quality is close enough. Yes, if you're super experienced with makeup and you notice like little nuances and shadows and stuff like that, you may be more inclined towards the Modern Renaissance palette. But I think for the average consumer, the Wet n Wild one, with the price tag that it is just a better option. And it kind of hurts me a little bit to say that, because I love my Modern Renaissance. I use it quite a bit. It's probably one of my favorite fall palettes to bust out. But I really think that the Wet n Wild version of it is basically just as good. So yeah, that's painful to say, and I don't really know why. I really like my high-end palettes, but this one is so good that you just don't need the high-end version. So that's it. Those are the 5 drugstore items that are just as good as, if not better than, their high-end counterparts. Let me know if there's something at the drugstore that you now use as opposed to buying the high-end version of it. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you've replaced in your collection at a much cheaper price point. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!